Hello, my great and wonderful people. How una day today? I hope all of una day well. Today we get this studio interview with Aisha Yusufu, the spokesperson of Peter Obi of Labour Party, with Arise News. Honestly, this interview now one of its kind. I just get a reason why ABC I decided to carry this interview to you, most especially for those of you when ABC you never come across this video. And before we leave you to hear the full details and the breakdown of this very interview, I want to quickly beg you for one favor. I beg help us to like this video, because I'm the only one to say YouTube and Facebook will fit help us recommend this video to each and every one of us all around the world. The more this video get likes, the more that they recommend them to people. Now their own policy now be that very one. Thank you so much for your support. Now I will leave you to hear the total details of this very interview. I will come back for more.
You come to the decision to go out on the campaign trail?
Well, before I answer that question, I think I need to talk about the issue of being obedient. Like I've always said, Peter Obi is the one that will be obedient to the people. And for me, I must hold him accountable. And that's my business in this. And on the issue of partisan politics, I believe it is much easier for me to choose the people that I'm going to do protest to, and ensure that we have people in offices that will not allow those that will come and use tear gas on us when we go on protesting. On the issue of...
Well, you didn't have to choose him, though. You could have chosen...
Yeah, I could have chosen someone else. So that's what I did. I checked everyone. The last time we spoke here, I did tell you that he was the most competent of all the other ones. If he wasn't the most competent, I definitely would not be in his camp. On the issue of why did I go into partisan politics, I've always been, even right from 2015, and that was right in 2015. I supported Muhammadu Buhari from February 2015. I remember when I decided to support him, a lot of people that were in his camp were quite happy, but that didn't stop me from, holding me accountable and criticizing him and saying the fact that, look, we had an issue. We had a government at that time that was failing, unprecedented failure, and unfortunately for us, we brought in someone that we thought at least would do better, but ended up becoming worse and actually making the last administration to look as if it was better, it was good, even though it's better than this one, but it was never good at that time. And it's also the reason why we are saying to Nigerians today, if they vote anyhow, we will get to a place where people will actually come and be saying that Buhari's tenure was actually good by the time they are buying a bag of rice for 100,000 or buying dollar at the rate of 2,000 naira.
So you've never gone this far, though.
No, I've never
any candidate.
No, I've never gone this far with any candidate. I would have actually. So I voted for Buhari reluctantly because I knew of the two candidates. I didn't know any of the other participants during the 2015 election, and so I made my choice, and I chose, okay, I can't vote for the one who was already failing. I would rather just take my chance with another one who was saying he would do better. But one person who was actually my candidate at that time was Nasir El-Rufai. Because with what he had done as a minister, and I believe that he was going to do so much more.
He was
and
minister
actually,
of the Federal Capital
Territory,
Abuja.
Yes, and did quite well. And so I thought he was going to take that on to, because by the time he becomes a governor. And I had actually wanted to be on his campaign trail. The only reason why I didn't do that was my husband. He was like, no, if you do that, it's going to look, since at that time, at the height of the mandate for Chibok, it's going to look political and all sorts of things. And I have so much respect for my husband, and I ended up not doing it. But in 2019, I was actually on the campaign trail of Dr. Obi Ezekwesili.
Okay, yes, I remember that.
Yes, I do. So that's why I'm surprised when people are saying, as if this is the first time.
Yeah, she was your co-founder, the Bring Back Our Girls campaign.
And when she ran,
I remember that.
On her campaign till the end, and even when she
but that's why we said,
stepped out.
I suppose we said mainstream. Maybe that's
it depends on who is saying mainstream. It's politics. It's politics. So for me, the way I do it, I don't. It's not about whether the person is going to win. It's about
who you believe in.
Exactly. Who is most competent and will do what Nigeria needs to get out of the situation it is right now.
So over the years, I mean, you've called on courage, conviction. People know you for that, dedication, sacrifice, to try and secure a place for dispossessed people in Nigeria. And now those qualities have led you properly into the cutthroat world of Nigerian politics. What's it like on the hustings and playing a much more visible role in this election campaign?
It's like every other thing that I've always done. For me, I don't see anything different about it. It's coming. I'm always one person who doesn't wait for a seat at the table. I come with my own seat. Where there's no seat, I sit on the mat. If there's no mat, I sit on the floor. And so the same thing with politics. So I'm not looking at it for people to tell me this is the way they have been doing it. I'm saying to them, this is the way it needs to be done. And I'm going to bring my own way, the way I see it, the way it's going to be done. And it's the same thing with activism also. When I decided to join should I say mainstream activism now, or on the global level, I did that after my 40th birthday. And 4 months after my 40th birthday, when I decided I was in it, I didn't wait to follow a particular pattern where other people, this is the way they do it, or I didn't find someone who looked like me. I just went in there and I started doing what I needed to do. The first time I protested, of course, was 1992 as a fresher in the university. But that's how I've always done my thing. And I think for me, it's all about what you bring in. You know your value, you know you have your competence, you know what you're there for, and that's it. It's all about one thing. And the biggest job I do very well on the Peter Obi's campaign is the fact that I criticize him and I check what he does. And for example, he's at an event where he's speaking, I need to sit down and say what are the things, give him a review of his performance, what are the things he's doing well, what are the things he's not doing very well, what are the things he needs to improve upon. And I'm sure Nigerians have noticed in the last few months he has really come up, and he's always learning and ready to learn and always willing to be criticized. So for me, that's the reason why we work so well together, and we're still working together.
So with hindsight, I mean, can it be argued that your activism career, if you like, was only ever a means to this end in politics, and that your interest always inclined towards what you're doing now?
Well, I don't have a career in activism. No, I've never been paid a dime for activism. Even my own NGO, should I call it NGO now? My own it's self-funded. I've used my money.
An activism calling.
I'm going to go that way. So I've never called myself an activist, and I don't still see myself as an activist. So that career that people are talking about, I'm a trader, and I build houses and I sell houses.
Is that why you and Peter Obi got together?
Yes, I'm sure that's right. I
like that.
My husband used to hate it.
In?
Oh, I trade in a lot of things. I sell chicken feed. If you want a trailer load of chicken feed, I'll give you right now. If you want a house, I have a house right now.
I like that. Well, that's a different side of you.
Yeah, that's that a lot of people don't know. I have a 2-bedroom flat, 6 units, currently at Umbora. If you want, just give me the money, I'm selling it to you.
I like that. That's brilliant.
I do stuff. So it's not a career for me. I am an active citizen. I am one who got tired of just sitting down and watching the country being run by all sorts of charlatans, and we get to a place where the country was going into a place where we couldn't even recognize our country anymore, and I decided to no longer be a passive citizen, to be an active citizen. Just for maybe anyone who doesn't know, on my 40th birthday, I realized that I also was a problem of Nigeria. My silence was a problem, and I decided I will no longer be silent, and I said if God gives me another 40 years, I will devote it to Nigeria, and currently we are on the 90th year.
Right, well, that's brilliant. But I mean, you were telling us about your relationship with Peter Obi and what it's like, because I mean, you guys spend a lot of time on the campaign trail. Do you sort of irritate each other from time?
Yeah, sometimes we do. Like, Aisha, you're always an activist, and I'm like, Pio, this. But that's the way it should be. Right. I'm not there to do excellence or excellency. I don't do excellency with that. I see a lot of people call him excellency and all of that. Nah, I don't do excellency. You need to just get the job done, and that's what I'm doing. And the moment he gets into office, by the grace of God, I'm on the streets making demands on him every day. And if he doesn't give us the things that we need to do, will we be on the streets protesting to him?
Well, let's talk about that possibility of getting into office. I mean, do you believe that your appeal as a well-known person, well-known activist, political supporter will bring Peter Obi votes? Can you work your popularity magic on the Nigerian electorate?
And not to sound immodest, I hope so, and I believe so. And I do see a lot of people who say to me, Aisha, as long as you are, and wherever you are, we'll go. And sometimes it
you think that gives them confidence?
Yeah, it gives them a lot of confidence. Right. But sometimes it also puts a lot of pressure on me, on one, because they're like, okay, why are people thinking this way? But I think I do bring a lot of value into it. But beyond that, Peter will be such an easy sell. honestly. So it's not really about even bringing anybody. It's just about the fact that he is good, he is competent, he cares, he is passionate about Nigeria, he's patriotic, he wants to serve, and those are the things those are the qualities that we're looking for. So it makes it so much easy.
Right. You may believe that, but that doesn't resonate with a lot of Nigerians.
Yeah, so that's a lot of Nigeria, but there are a lot more Nigerians that resonate with. And in politics, of course, you never can win everyone. And I know Peter Obi is always say that, oh, everybody cannot like you, and if everybody likes you, that's a problem. So, but the most important thing is that many more Nigerians believe he is the competent one, and I would say, in my own opinion, 80 to 90% of Nigerians believe that. Even
Where do you get that figure
no,
from?
That's why I said in my own opinion. I didn't say any, and I'll tell you why I say that, because you see a lot of them, even though they say they're going to vote for other candidates, but they will always say to you, oh, we know Peter Obi is the most competent. We know Peter Obi is a bet. They always have a bet. He should either wait his turn, or now he can't win, it's somebody else's turn, or it's one thing or the other. But they always say it. So when it comes to issue of competence, issue of character, capacity, there's no contest. Peter Obi has it. But it comes to, fear. And one of the things with Nigeria, like Stephen Biko did say, that the greatest weapon of the oppressor is the mind of the oppressed. A lot of Nigerians, their minds have been taken away, and so they're always afraid. And so they defeat themselves and think that they are not the ones in charge, when actually they are the ones in charge. And I'm so glad many more Nigerians are saying that, and many more Nigerians are ready to say, look, we're doing this, and we must ensure that true power comes back to the people.
Yeah, but there seem to be a lot of questions raised that you're not engaging the North enough, especially the Talakawas, or ordinary people who are major determinants in any election. What's your response to that?
Let me switch. I was born and brought up in Kano. I was brought up amongst the Talakawas. I grew up in Kona. Now, recently we were in Kano, and we engaged with them, and they felt it. We've been in Katsina, we've been in Kaduna, we've been in Plateau, we've been in Mina, and people are feeling it. So I think this question would have been more in tune before we started our northern rallies. But the moment we started our northern rallies, you can actually see that that's not the way it is. But let me tell you something. Do you know the #1 campaign manager for Peter Obi? It's actually Muhammadu Buhari himself, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. He has given Nigeria so much bad governance that people have gotten sense. So they know it is no longer about, who is he a Northerner, or who is a Muslim or anything, but it's about the fact that they also are looking for one who is competent. Like when we did our rally in Katsina, when I was speaking to the people, all I needed to ask them, who is the current president? Where is he from? What religion does he practice? Has that helped you in any way? Hasn't that thrown you into so much trouble? And so the fact that we've had this bad governance, we've had the corruption, we have the insecurity that has increased over time under Buhari, has ensured that people are no longer looking the way they would have looked at 4 years ago, and so they are more focused on who is it that will come in and make their life better. So it's good. So whoever is saying that, they either are not reading the handwriting on the wall, or they're not seeing what is happening right now. Remember the last time we were here, a lot of people say we wouldn't even last as long as we have done now, and I said to them, we haven't started, and I'm sure even right now I'm still saying to them, we haven't started, that we see more of us. And the beauty about the the Obideti movement is the fact that there are a lot of people who are in other parties, especially the so-called two major parties, and who feel that some of them will say they are obediently PDP or obediently APC. That as far as when it comes to the presidential candidacy, they're going to go with Peter Obi, but with the other things they will do with their own candidate. And we have a lot more of those who are with us. And it's, what is happening in Nigeria today, it's phenomenal. It's for the first time citizens saying that they want to be in charge, and they are actually doing that, especially the Nigerian youth. I doff my scarf for them or my hat every time, and I'm so proud of them and the things that they're doing. And indeed, the Nigeria that we've known before, it's no longer the way it's going to be. It's no longer business as usual. Right now it's business unusual, and we're doing this.
But it's the entire focus appears to be on Peter Obi himself just winning the presidency in a country where there are different political sort of strata. You see what I mean? There's the National Assembly, there's the State Assembly, there's the governorship levels, and so on. I mean, the focus just appears to be on Peter Obi himself.
Not really. One of the things that we have said as citizens is that we are going to vote for candidates and not parties. So this is the time to choose across board candidates who have competence, character, capacity, candidates who are patriotic, candidates that are going to work for the Nigerian people and not for their own selfish interests. And so across board, be it the National Assembly, State Houses of Assembly, gubernatorial candidates, we are choosing who are the people who are most competent. And so that's the way it's going to be. So that let's have competent people in office. For a lot of people who come to say that, oh, they feel that Peter Obi, when he gets in, he won't have the National Assembly. And I'm asking them, APC that have had National Assembly to the extent that the National Assembly was called a rubber stamp assembly, what have they done with that in the last 7 years other than to destroy Nigeria? And so what we are focused on is ensuring people with competence, character, capacity, like I said earlier, get in there. And let Nigerians understand that the legislative arm of government is actually the bedrock of democracy. They are the ones with the oversight function, they hold the executive accountable, and they also make laws. And we must not take it lightly. We must ensure that the people that we send to the National Assembly and the State Houses of Assembly are people who are deserving of our votes and not people who just belong to certain parties. What we've had today, where we have the legislative and both the National Assembly and the State Houses of Assembly not bothered about the issues happening in Nigeria, is because 99.9% of them know that they wouldn't have gotten the ticket, they wouldn't have won if they had run on other parties. So their parties were voted for. So their allegiance is not to us Nigerians, but to their party and the power broker. So this is the time for us to change that. This is the time for us as citizens to ensure that we are the ones who are making decisions. We are the ones who are actually electing, not endorsing those that have been selected for us.
What about the northern leadership, the so-called sort of northern oligarchs? Are they for or against Peter Obi's presidency? I mean, I know they don't all think as one, but these are people on whose word millions of people vote, at least in past elections. Are you making any inroads with people like that?
Absolutely. That's what the vice presidential candidate has been doing. Yusuf Baba Ahmed, all this while, that's what he has been doing. And you know, there was a time I did a tweet, and
they seem to be rather quiet.
Exactly.
They're not coming out.
No, that's where I'm going to right now. I did a tweet, and I said to people, I said, look, Senator Yusuf Baba Ahmed has the same work rate as that of Mr. Peter Obi. The only difference is that he is more silent about the things that he is doing. He had gone around the 19 northern states and all of that, and I've been having seen high powered meetings with a lot of those leaders, both religious, traditional leaders and other political leaders, but he hasn't been very vocal about it. And there was a time that we had that discussion, and then he started bringing, being more, out there with it. But if you see what we have done with the northern rallies that we've started and the kind of acceptance that has been going on, you will know that he has actually been working. And I think it's just yesterday that some Islamic group did endorse Peter Obi as the candidate, accepted him as their candidate, and we're going there. And I think we've reached a place where people have realized that this is not about religion, and this is about competence, and we need to have leaders who can actually care for the people in office rather than us focusing on religion. Religion is a private issue. People should go home and worship their God the way they want to worship, and should not bring it on the national stage. And like one of the things that I love about the explanation that Yusuf Baba Ahmed always makes on the trips we've had is to say to them, Nigeria is not an Islamic country. It's not a kingdom. It's a federal republic made up of different people, and that God doesn't make mistake by bringing us together, and that we're supposed to live in harmony. And you can't just come and just push down only certain group of people or religious beliefs that will be the one to continue to head the helms of affair. It's an insult to every one of us, and anyone that is thinking about justice and equity, we must reject all of those things and ensure that there's proper justice and equity in our country, because without justice you can't have peace.